Hello, welcome to Tile Coach. I'm Isaac Ostrom. So today we got a problem, another problem that we're dealing with. We have this beautiful shower. This is in a house that's on some farmland. It's actually on a vineyard here in Northern California. Beautiful property. I mean, this is just amazing. We have a great climate here for growing grapes, pretty much growing anything, but it's not only are grapes tasty and they make good wine, but they're also beautiful when you have a vineyard. So this is really cool. The bathroom leads right outside into the vineyard, and this is a pool house, so it's basically an annex of the main house. And so there's a swimming pool, there's a big living room, kitchen, entertaining area, and we built this beautiful curbless shower bathroom that kind of flows and leads right out. I designed this bathroom with the client, so I take a lot of pride in this bathroom. Steve did most of the installing on it, and he did a fabulous job. Everything from lining up the joints to make the pattern run right into the line drain, and where the floor breaks over the curb where the slope is, everything is lined up really nice. And the ceiling matches the floor. It's an exact mirror of the floor, so we got this really cool effect in this. We had a glass contractor. We didn't do the glass on this because this glass was pretty intricate, but they installed the door and the enclosure with 1/2-inch clear frameless glass. But we come down to the end and we have a problem. So the problem is that the shower valve is set too deep into the wall. And we didn't do the plumbing on this job. Another contractor did the plumbing. And originally we weren't going to float this wall, but when we came in, the walls were so jacked up that we had to do a mortar bed float on this, which typically isn't a big deal because most of the time they sell extension kits for these Delta valves. But Delta's having some supply chain issues. They've cut production on several of their lines, and you might notice that if you're in the industry. So this extension kit, which is normally available for this valve and this trim package, they originally said it was available, and then about 4 weeks into it, we were checking up on it. They said, hey, we stopped production on this line. I'm like, oh my gosh. So now we're stuck trying to deal with this, and I know a lot of you guys have probably run into this, and you might be running into this in your own project if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But the valve is set too far deep. We need to pull it forward. Now there's two ways you can go about that. You can either go from the back and cut out sheetrock. That works really well if you have like a closet or some other area. But I don't think we can do that because there's blocking. And the way that the plumbing lines run into this valve, we wouldn't be able to push it forward because the plumbing lines would be holding it up against the wall. So what we're going to do is remove these 4 tiles, do our best, do some surgery. We call these kind of repairs, it's like surgery. It's like really intricate work, and we're going to see if we can pull this valve forward. So check it out. So first thing we need to do is scrape this grout out. These 4 tiles, we're going to remove the grout on the outside so we don't damage more tiles than we need to. This is Spectralock 1 grout, Laticrete Spectralock 1, which is similar to epoxy. It's a premix. But what I've noticed is it cuts out a lot easier than epoxy. With the razor knife, you can get it out. So I'm just going to be careful. I don't want to chip these tiles. So when I scrape grout, I usually go at an angle and use the tile as a guide. And just do both sides. So I'm doing an angle to both sides, and that's helping get that grout out of there. So with these Delta valves, what's nice is they have some of them, if you order them with the stops, you can turn the water off at the valve by closing the stops without having to shut the water off to the whole house. Each one, both hot and cold, has a stop to it. And you just screw them down. Okay, so the water should be off now to this valve so we can take these parts off. Okay, so the plaster guard is just held in with one screw that holds it in. So this comes out. We got that out. And so now we have the valve exposed. And what we have is there's just 2 anchoring screws into some blocking in the back. You can see screws, there's one on each side. There's one screw on that side and one screw over on this side. So we're going to try to loosen these screws so that we can pull this whole valve forward. Now the sheetrock is right here. That's a dent shield, and that's going to hold us up because the pipes are coming in. So we're probably going to have to cut out some of that sheetrock, see if we can pull this whole thing forward. We need about, I would say we probably need a 1/2 inch minimum. 1 inch would be more comfortable. So we're going to get as much as we can out of this. Ooh. So now, yeah, that made it come loose. That was nice. So I got both anchoring screws, but that's all we're getting. See, what's happening is the copper supply lines are hitting the wallboard. It's one of the problems with these Delta valves. If you do float your walls or you get too thick, the actual wallboard gets in the way. Yeah, that's only about 1/4 inch. So yeah, I think we got to take these 2 tiles off. But let's throw the escutcheon on there just to check. We might get lucky just with that 1/4 inch. Okay. And this is on membrane. So what we have is a mortar bed, and then we have sheet membrane over the mortar bed, which is nice. So these tiles should probably pop off pretty clean based upon the adhesion between thin set and fleece membrane is a lot less than tiles directly thin set to mud. These will probably pop off pretty easy. But that might be enough, man, if that's enough. Let's say hot and cold. Just like this?
Little cartridge, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Goes in there.
That cartridge goes in there.
And then that's what back on.
Goes like this. This guy goes in here.
You see those?
Yeah.
And it's usually pretty tight. You usually have to use a lot of force to get it in there. I'll even use my damn pliers and push it in.
There we go. Okay. The cartridges are in.
This usually slips over the lower cartridge all the way behind this.
And then I'll be able to tell. Let's see, I should be able to tell.
Yeah, well, this this should literally just be the last part. As long as you have threads, that's close. Shit, that almost looks like that's on there for me.
I think that'll do it.
Thread,
So let me
once
see.
that guy threads on. Yeah, I believe that's the way. I don't see the handles. It must be in another container.
Yeah, the handles are in another box. So we literally got like an 1/8 inch right there. So I think that's gonna work. Whew, so just loosening that saved us. We just I got to replace the grout, but that's a lot easier than busting tiles out and figuring everything else out. So yeah, doing surgery with the little drill bit, boring out that, pulling the whole thing forward. I think that's going to do it. So I always say start with simple stuff first. Like actually what we should have done is not even scraped the grout out, but you know, that took me about 10 minutes. But it's like working on a car, right? You always start with the simplest thing first. Don't go and tearing the most complicated out. Start simple. And in this case, this might pay off for us without having to tear any more tiles out. So it's close, but we're gonna see. How about let's tape.
Just tape them together.
Try taping those. So that's 4/16, which is 1/4 inch, right?
You need to have the gap in there?
I believe so. I mean, I can cut right through. I can drill right through it. Doesn't matter.
4 foot by 4 foot tiles today or yesterday.
Okay. Let's see. So we made a little shim to fit in there. Let me see if I can fit those guys in. Oh, come on, you sucker. That might be just too much, huh? There we go. I think so. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, we got our horseshoe shims. I was able to wedge them in behind the valve so that it brought us out the distance that we needed. So we're gonna put our screws back in after we got it shimmed, and that should be well on our way. Boom. Okay. Did you get that, Luke? Just a little...
Says, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Just turned it on like 2 seconds before.
We'll have to pull that and just that little, yeah, that should be it.
We should-
Slide. It should be able to slide over that.
Oh, over this?
I would assume that it has enough. It's really, it just has to clear the teeth of the.
I'm glad I didn't tighten this sucker all the way down.
Yeah, seriously. So the same thing. Yeah,
same
hopefully you
thing.
can leave that. Get your plaster guard and it should slip back on.
Okay, so the plaster guard goes back in.
Hopefully it doesn't want to fight us. Okay, good. Yeah. Well, and the other little set screw.
Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah, nice. One little screw that holds the plaster guard in. It's kind of funny that they don't, like, why wouldn't you put 2 screws in there? I guess it doesn't need much. So now I need the 4 mounting screws. Right now
That's
this,
the main thing is
now
having
cartridge, does cartridge go on first?
Let me find out.
Yeah.
It looks like you could put it all back together.
Okay. So
Put
the round one. Hey,
Yeah,
this.
you should be able to put the round on the bottom and square on top.
Okay, so on the Delta Brizo rough ends, this is really important, and we've messed this up. Again, my mistakes. They're all good as long as I help somebody out with them, right? So these are not interchangeable. The one with the hex head, that goes on the diverter. The one that's round goes on the thermostatic part. On the thermostatic part. And if you do them differently, your trim won't fit on. We found that out the hard way. Okay, so this goes on. These are the keeper rings that hold the cartridge in. Ooh, scrape myself. Where's those fancy channel locks, Luke?
I mean, really, this is going to be the true test right here, is if these sit.
Oh, are they long enough? Oh, shoot.
That's the main thing. So thread, that's the main thing that's really going to tell the difference right now.
Oh, that's going to be really close, because those...
That should be the front, right? Or is
That's
that
the front.
That's the question right there.
So these screws need to be able to reach, and that's going to be another issue that we'll need to take a look at. Hopefully that machine screw is long enough to reach in here. And it looks like it's barely.
The famous video of a woman saying that.
Yeah, it seems like in a worst case scenario, we could get longer machine screws by 1/4 inch. Well, let's see. No, I don't think they're gonna make it, dude. I don't think so.
Trip to Home Depot. You sure you don't have any laying around in your, Oh, you know what? I might have some in my, truck, maybe. I might just have some. Don't work?
No. They're like a 1/4 inch shot.
You cut it.
Okay, so I ran down to the Ace Hardware real quick. They were really helpful. It's really nice going to a local hardware store where people are helpful, knowledgeable. I just took the screw right to him. He goes, oh yeah, that's a 1024. And he found me a 1/4 inch longer. So that should be what we need. So yeah, in the future, this is a stainless steel 1024, and we just went with 1.5 inches to give us a little bit longer screw. Now that we have that, we should be able to, oh yeah, that's plenty. So that's gonna work out good. So yeah, I wish Brizo would just give you a little bit longer screw, but it's all good. It's all good. Good, tight, we're good there. Also, remember to turn your stops back on. Yeah, so open your stops back up because you don't want to get this whole thing together and realize that your stops, oh, we're not brought back out. Yeah. But having stops on valves just makes a lot of sense. See, there goes the water, it just fired right up. And otherwise, we'd have to keep going out to the main water shutoff and keep doing this. So this is an O-ring that keeps water out. You always want to put a little bit of a lubricant on your O-rings so they don't catch. This will keep them from binding up and twisting. So the O-ring is going to go on right over there, just like that. And then this sleeve, same thing, I'll just put a little bit of lube in here. So that sleeve goes on just like that. Oh yeah, oh, there we go. So that goes over the plastic. So now the sleeve's on there good. Now I can put this guy back in. So that's on there. And now this guy should go on. Perfect, you can see, and we're just proud of the plate, which is where we needed to be. We didn't want this part right here recessed in the plate. So I got a good 1/8 inch there. I feel really good about that. That part's going on just like that. Okay, and then the handles go on. Oh, that's really nice. So that's it. We're gonna have one function going that way, one function with both, one function in the shower head, so perfect. And then this, what are you saying? Oh, you said take the handle off.
Yeah, so take the handle off so you could you get the Allen wrench in there. That whole day, 6 o'clock. So the handle pointed.
Beautiful.
We can still make it look beautiful even though that's on there.
Okay, and then you said the handle just screws on, Steve?
Yeah.
And that handle just screws on right like that.
And then for the thermostatic valve.
Now we got the thermostatic part.
But, you know, looks like
It's supposed to go something like this. So this is a thermostatic valve, so once the plumber hooks this up, he'll be able to set this where it needs to go because it's adjustable based on how hot you want your shower to get. Yeah, that's all the way hot. So.
Don't they set the temperature on the tankless heater?
So yeah, that's basically it. We got everything to work beautifully without tearing any tiles off. So what we're gonna end up doing is we'll just have a little bit of grout. We'll get our Spectralock 1 grout, put it in here, and we'll be done. We saved a ton of work tearing these tiles out and then trying to figure out a way to pull it out and fasten it. So yeah, always start with the simple thing first. If you can fix it with a simple way, do it. Always try it first. And if not, move on to the next more difficult task. Okay, so yeah, what we grouted this with was Laticrete Spectralock 1. It's epoxy-like performance. and it's a pre-mixed grout. This is a silver shadow color. So that is a nice thing that we don't even have to mix it up. Spectralock 1, they have these little covers that you put over your grout when you're done. See these little covers here? And if you do that, your grout will stay fresh. This has been on the shelf, what, about a month or maybe even longer? About 6 weeks probably. So it's still good. And when you're using Spectralock 1, you definitely want to have these microfibers. They will see all of these drips that are coming down. They'll eliminate all of that. Give you a nice clean grout job. If you keep sponging it, it'll just keep causing all of these drips, especially on a wall. So you just use your microfiber. That'll clean everything up really nice. But yeah, so that's it, man. We saved a ton of time by being able to get in there and pull it forward. Otherwise, you have to pull these tiles around it or going through the back in the sheetrock. But again, this is a beautiful job. You know, fixing things like this just gives me a really good feeling. I love being able to encounter a problem and solve it. And it was good teamwork. Steve had a bunch of tools on his truck that I didn't have on mine. We were able to tackle it as a team. Mission accomplished. This valve is now set where it needs to be. And another beautiful job that we were able to do here in Northern California. If you haven't visited Northern California, don't believe the hype. It's a really, really beautiful place with a lot of good people. Stay off of social media and you'll be a lot happier if you're here. So anyways, another beautiful job by O-Tile and the crew. And last but not least, I love you. I love being your tile coach. We'll see you on the next video.